Hello, and welcome to the latest installment of Critics and Cars Getting Home. And if you see us jump over an overpass, that's just because we're super excited after seeing the New Zealand red carpet premiere of Fast X.
Or fasten your seatbelts, as we've been calling it at home. And boy, do you gotta.
Yeah, it's, so let's say on 3, 2, 1 what the best thing about this movie is. 3, 2, 1,
Jason Momoa!
Yeah, wow.
So he gets up at the beginning of the film, yeah? Because he's here in New Zealand shooting. And what's he shooting?
Some series.
Fine, if I thought you knew the name, I would have asked you.
Chief of War.
Fine. So he's here already, and so he gets up at the front of the cinema to introduce the film. And he said, and I quote, "This was the funnest time I've ever had shooting a movie." And he said that Vin Diesel had given him a call, and he was like, sure. And he said it was the first time in 10 years that he's played a villain, and he had an absolute ball. My goodness.
It shows. It shows.
You know, if I knew that Jason Momoa was going to play the villain in every other film henceforth, across any franchise or genre, I would be going, because he was so good.
Yeah, it's, I mean, there's been a lot of these films, and I had definitely not been feeling any strong need to see this one. But
in the last one, they threw the two dummies into space, which was really dumb and annoying.
Yeah, but, you know, if I had a tagline for be Jason Momoa making stupid movies fun again. Yeah. Because, look, this is still an insult to the laws of physics, the laws of gravity, the laws of logic, all those things. And it is pretty much a ball, you know. There's you know, all the things that we've come to know and tolerate about Fast and Furious movies, like overlong speeches about family. I still don't enjoy Tyrese. I still don't enjoy Vin Diesel very much.
No, I agree with you. I don't enjoy Vin Diesel, and I've never enjoyed Tyrese. But you know, Ludacris and Tyrese continue to have their back and forth japes with one another, and that certainly brings a bit of levity, doesn't it?
It reminded me of Thanksgiving, where you keep going and you've just committed to the fact that every Thanksgiving you're going to have bloody turkey, and nobody really likes turkey, but you feel like you have to have turkey. So you just come up with better and better sides each year, and everyone comes away and says, "Oh, that was an amazing pumpkin pie." I know this means nothing to non-American people.
But also, Thanksgiving, really, the whole purpose of it is family.
That's true.
There's
but also
another connection with this film.
Stuffing yourself so full of tasty stuff that you can't move. And there's just so many big actors in this doing big things.
Oh my goodness. So there's Brie Larson, Oscar winner Brie Larson. I mean, admittedly, Captain Marvel, whatever, blah, blah.
Yeah.
She's in it. Actually, loved all of her outfits, so she's actually fine. Charlize Theron is back as Cypher.
John Cena is super fun.
And he's really great, actually.
Yeah.
And he was actually one of the best things about Fast 9. It was really nice to have him come into the franchise as Dom's long-lost, never hitherto mentioned brother.
Yes. Rita Moreno appears in this as never before mentioned mother.
That's right. So, I mean, they're getting a little bit silly. I mean, the poster's now so chock full that my initial instinct whenever there are films that have heaps and heaps of famous or big names in a cast is that the bigger with the Expendables and that sort of thing, the bigger the cast, the worse the film, unless it's directed by Robert Altman or possibly, Tarantino. But
ironically, this probably had as many directors as Robert Altman has actors in his films. Louis Leterrier is officially credited. Justin Lin walked off after 3 days, but also there's a heap of footage at the beginning of the movie from Fast 5, which you'll more or less figure out.
Can I just say, I really do think that this franchise does an excellent job of two things: reusing or repurposing content. So they chunk a whole section from Fast 5, which this guy luckily said to me, this is from Fast 5. But then what they do, which I also think is super clever, is they will pretend that there was a character who was always there, but we didn't actually see them back in Fast 5 because they hadn't been imagined back then. But they're then built into this film so that you go, oh, okay, right. that's what happened then. You know,
they call it retconning in the biz.
Retconning.
Retrospective continuity, where you bring something back into the
because
world. I
for
believe
me,
they do.
being a bit highfalutin, of course, it also reminded me a little bit of the wonderful Tom Stoppard play Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are Dead, because it's a little bit like taking a bit character who was actually only ever either an unnamed part or in a hallway or something, and then bringing them back into a, you know, making.
It'd be more like if Rosencrantz and Guildenstern had a rocket car and were fighting zombie Hamlet.
Okay, fine.
But, you know, it's kind of similar.
So it's not a great, a great comparison.
Not a classic anecdote.
Now, listen, though, I didn't think it was an amazing film. I mean, location-wise, I love that it goes to Rome. I love that it goes to Portugal and Brazil and does a sort of... Because last time in Fast 9, you might recall, it went to Georgia and Edinburgh, which was actually really cool. But this time, my goodness, they've gone kind of like tier A kind of places, and they've done some jolly good driving scenes around places like Rome.
I think one thing that I noted about the last one is it got really overstuffed in terms of plot, and you should know that this is not a complete movie in its own right, not even by Fast and Furious standards. It's very much ends on a cliffhanger, and also a post-credit sequence reveal that we will not spoil, but do stick around for after the main
and actually
credits.
Lots of mini kind of kind of things towards the end. But you know what this does suffer from, and there's no other way around it. Now that the cast is so bloated, you kind of have your 3 or your 4 threads, don't you?
Well,
so
it's even more than that. It's like Michelle Rodriguez disappears for 20 minutes at a point.
Absolutely.
Ludacris and his guys disappear
like
for 10
chunking.
minutes.
So they'll go, okay, you two go off and we're going to give you your thread, and then you'll just do your thing together. And then you guys are doing your mission, and then you guys are doing your mission, which probably revolves around family.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth. And I don't know, I mean, I kind of want to go, oh, you know, that's a criticism. But really, there is no other way, I think. You can't have 10 people. Well, you can. If you're Ocean's whatever, you can have 10 people in a room hanging about, I suppose. And I'd be criticizing that as well. So
yeah, it's very much part and parcel of the thing that it's set up as a bunch of separate plot threads. And ultimately, it's the first half of possibly first third, I don't even know, of the end of a franchise. So there's a lot of chess piece moving. That, you know, will pay off in the next installment as well, which would probably be maddening if A, they didn't break it up with so many good action scenes, and B, Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
You know?
So Jason Momoa plays the psychopathic baddie. Not a spoiler, because everybody knows that that's who he is. And it's not like one of those films where suddenly he turns out to be the baddie. But I have not seen such a fun, consistent, inoffensive psychopathic baddie in as long as I can remember.
I was kind of convinced from what I'd seen of him as an actor, to be honest, that he was one of the most humorless humans on earth.
But no. Oh my goodness. He does every single part of it with a twinkle in his eye.
Yeah.
And mauve, light purple, violet to some of you is his signature color, which probably tells you everything you need to know. I mean, he's absolutely fabulous.
I do think I struggle a lot with, like, this is a faith-based film. There's lots of mentioning.
Oh, so that's
faith.
What I was going to say. It's no longer a family film. It's all about faith.
Yes, and I do feel like having a gender-bending sort of main character villain in a faith-based context is a bit pandering in a way.
Look, it's not all faith, religious faith. I mean, you know, there's reference to the Vatican, and you'll figure out why when you see the film. But, I mean, to be fair, there's mainly people going, I have faith in you, or I have faith that we'll get through the situation. So it's not overtly Christian, although there are crosses, and there's Jesus in Rio de Janeiro, and blah, blah, blah. But, I don't know.
I'm just thinking about how it plays for red meat Southern American viewers and things like that. They'll be like, oh yeah, he's a villain. Minor point, it's from our New Zealand perspective, it was a super fun time, which I don't think I felt for a few installments now that I could unconditionally, or moderately conditionally, but I can say you'll have a good time.
Yeah, that's all I can say, is that you'll have a good time.
On that note, we'll see you next time.